Visual novels have been on a rise in prominence ever since many popular visual novels have come to the West. And while quite a few of them are still Japan exclusive, such as the elusive Type Moon visual novels, there are still quite a few on Steam in English that you can play on your Steam Deck. Just keep in mind that most of them don't have real gameplay, at least gameplay that you'd expect. Today we'll be looking at visual novels. What is a visual novel? Well, a visual novel is more of a reading experience than your typical game. In fact, there's very little gameplay in some of these. A lot of visual novels tend to be more story focused. Some of these stories can be very linear, but a vast majority of these games have multiple branching story paths. You know, kind of like a choose your own adventure kind of novel. So why a visual novel though? Well, some of them are quite good reads. You may have even played a visual novel disguised as a video game. Others allow you to indulge in your degenerate anime fantasies. I understand, but I don't agree with you. So without further ado, let's begin, shall we? The first visual novel we'll be looking at today is a Type Moon classic known as Fate/stay night. If you've ever heard of Fate Grand Order, then this is what it's based on. This visual novel right here. It's never had an official English translation. None of Type Moon's original visual novels did, though it seems like this may be changing with Type Moon's latest visual novel, Witch on the Holy Night, their first ever visual novel to come to the West. So back when we made the Weeb Deck video, we were planning on playing Fate/stay night as one of our games, but we forgot to do it, honestly. So here we go. Fate/stay night. It's as easy as copying the games over to your deck and adding them to Steam. Of course, if you want your game in English, you'll have to do all the patching in English on your main desktop first. I mostly did it there because I didn't feel like doing it on the deck. This also includes the voices from the Reality Nua version of the game, so there's voice acting as well. And that requires yet another patch. After adding Fate.exe, you'll want to go to Properties, go to Compatibility, force the use of a specific Steam Play compatibility tool, and pick whatever version of Proton. I picked Proton 7.0, so this is Fate/stay night right here, and this is the original version, with, you know, the various patches. There really isn't a whole lot to say here other than the fact that it works. Do keep in mind that if you're a neophyte to the visual novel genre, then do note that this is nothing like those other visual novels. This one's a lengthy one. This is like the length of an actual book. I mean, to be fair though, it's also written like an actual book as well, for the most part. The next one is a legendary meme game, Doki Doki Literature Club. The game can be played all the way through except for, well, you know the part. Spoiler alerts. Act 3. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. Doki Doki Literature Club is many people's first experience with visual novels because, well, it has a pretty infamous reputation for a certain twist. Nudge nudge wink wink. So much so that people play the game expecting to see the twist, except, you know, they get bombarded with a pretty lengthy first act, which is more or less a basic visual novel. And then they unironically like visual novels. The next game we're looking at is Narcisu, and let's just say this story is kind of difficult to swallow, especially if you're the type that's sensitive to certain topics, such as suicide. This is one of those extremely linear visual novels that I mentioned. They're also called kinetic novels. I would rather you just experience the story for yourself, especially since it's free on Steam. And yes, it runs on Steam Deck. All of these are running on Steam Deck. The next visual novel I want to talk to you guys about is an English language visual novel, as in it was originally written in English, not Japanese. I'm going to be honest with you, I kind of just saw this in my library and I definitely do not remember playing this game, but having played this for a bit now, I can tell you that it's a very intriguing murder mystery visual novel. It's also free on Steam as well, so why don't you give it a shot? All visual novels are kind of slow burn, and this one kind of is as well. The next visual novel I'm about to recommend to you guys is a seminal masterpiece, Valhalla, cyberpunk bartending action. It's a game about Glitch City and its denizens, and you play as the bartender, Jill, and you have the unique experience of being a bartender in a cyberpunk world. Unlike most other visual novels, your choices aren't determined by dialogue options, but rather what drinks you serve to what customers. You can fill out their order perfectly, or you can give them something else that they may not know that they need. The game also has a lot of social commentary if you're into that kind of stuff. Dialogue that's still very relevant to this day. Oh look, they predicted the Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp trial. And here we go, Nekopara. More specifically, Volume 1. It's the only Nekopara game I own, and I didn't even buy it. So there's no story, no dialogue, no choices. Why would you want to play this visual novel? I can think of one reason. Cat girls. If you're into that stuff, this is for you. If you're not into it, then steer away. Just keep in mind that cat girls aren't furries. Whoa, is that a chest bounciness setting? What the? And yes, that option does work. It does something. It's kind of insane, really. Is that a Square Enix visual novel? Well, yes, but also no. I'm gonna tell you my hottest take of all time. Telltale games and games like Life is Strange are glorified visual novels. You've got most of the makings of a visual novel. You've got a very story-focused game, as well as multiple dialogue options, and multiple routes, and multiple endings. And occasionally no real gameplay. Well, there's some gameplay in this one. I mean, you walk around and you move your camera with the right stick. That's more than most visual novels. It's a good time to look at performance and battery too. So, for a vast majority of this video, I didn't really record the visual novel footage with performance metrics because, well, a vast majority of them ran at like 3 or 4 watts, especially the really light ones. Now, Life is Strange, being that it's an actual AAA game, takes up around 14 watts of power on the Steam Deck, and this is with all the settings maxed out. You could easily reduce the amount of power your Steam Deck consumes, as well as your GPU clocks, and it would still run at 60 FPS. Heck, you don't even need 60 FPS for a game like this. You could easily run it at 30 FPS and you'd still have a great experience. And on the flip side, you'd save a ton of battery. Life is Strange Episode 1 is free on Steam, though the remaining episodes you have to buy. Hard choices, lots of hard choices. So what did we learn today? Well, we learned that there's a ton of visual novels out there on Steam that you can just play right now for free. And there's even more that you could buy out there. Some ranging from really cheap to really expensive, but really high profile, like Clannad. That's how you pronounce it, right? We know that you can play a bunch of Telltale games if you so desired, or, you know, Life is Strange. And you can indulge in your sickest anime fantasies. So if you like my content, please like, subscribe, share with your friends, join my Discord server, and also enable notifications.